Well, it's finally over. Logan Paul apologized.
Logan thought suing Coffeezilla would silence his overwhelming criticism. Instead, it forced him into a corner, and now, he's desperately trying to hide it from the world. If you want to stay up to date with the latest celebrity drama, subscribe now. The lawsuit. We all know the drama about CryptoZoo and how it unfolded with Coffeezilla absolutely annihilating Logan Paul's reputation. Essentially, Logan started an NFT-based game and then abandoned it while hiring criminals to run it. After he got exposed in 2022 to 2023, he backfired with a defamation lawsuit of his own, trying to silence any criticism, control the narrative, and make the CryptoZoo controversy disappear. This desperate attempt would be his ultimate downfall, like we're seeing today.
It's probably the Logan Paul story, the CryptoZoo saga. That was a case where, it's just the classic influencer greed story.
He believed that the weight of his legal action would intimidate Coffeezilla into backing down and stopping the relentless exposure of what actually happened with his failed NFT program. Firstly, it seemed like a power move from someone who has infinite resources, the influence of a president, and a platform that was bigger than Coffeezilla's. It was actually a catastrophic miscalculation on Logan Paul, and the lawsuit didn't silence anyone. Instead, it triggered a legal procedure that would force Logan Paul into something that he couldn't even control. Now, with that narrative in mind, and Logan being so desperate to keep him hidden, he started filing motions demanding that the entire transcript be sealed. Not specific sections, not sensitive portions, the entire thing. Every page, answer, and every moment. He had to respond to questions without the safety of the network editing spin or his public relations team. What made this even more desperate is how weird the request is. When someone asks you to seal a deposition, they would identify specific reasons for that. This includes stuff like medical information, private family matters, and even details involving uninvolved third parties that aren't meant to be there.
Throughout a year-long investigation conducted by Coffeezilla, he produced 3 videos that highlighted that CryptoZoo was a scam.
They point to exact pages and explain why those sections need that sort of protection. However, Logan did nothing like that. He didn't even identify a single sentence that would require confidentiality. He didn't explain that he needed any sort of protection, and he just demanded total secrecy with no breakdown, no justification, just a blanket request to hide everything. This raised massive red flags, and even the courts that requested this weird thing started feeling like Logan was up to something. They don't usually seal depositions because someone regrets what they have said under oath, and they definitely don't hide sworn testimony just because it might damage your reputation, even if you are Mr. Logan Paul from Ohio himself. The excuse. But if we look at Logan's team, they argue that the issue is trust. They claim that Coffeezilla cannot be trusted with his deposition transcript. They even argue that if it is not sealed, Coffeezilla might release it publicly, share it with other lawyers, or even hand it over to the investigators. According to Logan, that should be improper, while also justifying that sealing the entire deposition is a thing.
Some good news! The CryptoZoo class action lawsuit against me got officially dismissed.
Here is the problem with that argument. None of what the whole team is describing is actually illegal. There is no rule saying that lawfully obtained discovery must stay private forever. There is no rule that prohibits even talking about it. And there is absolutely no rule that prevents someone from bringing information to law enforcement because the thing is real and it happened in real life. This case is different because Logan isn't arguing that the deposition contains genuinely private and sensitive information. He is arguing that Coffeezilla himself is the problem and that his character is known for exposing others and sensitive information that should not be leaked in the first place. But then Coffeezilla's legal team made this brutally clear in their response. They explained that unless the deposition contains genuinely confidential material under legal definitions, there is no basis to hide it, and it's completely legal to expose it. If Logan contradicted himself under that oath, there are no grounds for sealing. If Logan contradicted himself under oaths, there's no ground for sealing, because he was the one who had this issue. This is a theme that is repetitive with the Paul brothers. They always back out. They're always contradicting themselves, and they're so full of themselves that they don't even realize that much of what they're doing is wrong. The narcissism just never stops.
We got a few big updates. Logan's team is trying their absolute hardest to keep his deposition confidential still.
If he dodged questions, there's no ground either. If he admitted things that hurt his case, that's literally the point of deposition itself. But what made this verse is Logan's hypocrisy. His own legal team contacted the FBI during this case, using discovery materials to make accusations against him. Here's what Logan wants to do. He is allowed to talk to the investigators using the case material, but because Coffeezilla is not, that's a double standard that exposes the real motivation behind protecting Logan's privacy. It is protecting himself from the consequences of things that he's done, and FBI. Logan's next argument is somehow even more revealing, and it exposed him without anyone even saying anything. He claims that, as Toffel Giza has been sharing information from lawsuits with the FBI, he cannot be trusted with the whole transcript. Let's think about this for a second. Logan is saying that if you bring potential evidence of wrongdoing to any federal investigation company, that person should lose the right to access or discuss discovery material. That's not how anything works, unless there is a very specific court order that is preventing it. Sharing lawfully obtained information with law enforcement is not only allowed, but it's often encouraged as being in the public interest.
So Logan Paul's being investigated by the FBI. Has the sweetest sentence been uttered in 2025? So if you don't know, there's a massive lawsuit right now between Coffeezilla and the scumbag Logan Paul.
Coffeezilla's lawyer addressed this directly in their filing, stating that disclosing information to the FBI is a lawful use of discovery material and is not prohibited by the protective order. They also point out that if the discovery uncovers possible fraud or misconduct, then reporting that information isn't improper at all. Unlike normal sealing requests, where it's done, actual privacy is a concern. This argument reveals what Logan is actually afraid of. Not the information that is private, but that it's way too damaging for his brand, especially the impulsive podcast that has been built over the years. He's not worried about protecting innocent third parties. He's worried about federal investigators finding out about the scam that he did, and it was legitimate. At this point, Logan's tone sounds like someone who asked for fairness and more like someone who wants complete control over the system while dodging any potential hazards that might come towards him and ruin his name. And if you think the drama ends there, wait till you see what happens next. But before we reveal Logan's claims, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the video so far. Logan's claims and protective order. Since a lot of things already happened with the Logan Paul case, he then pivots to arguing that there is a protective order in place and that Coffeezilla is violating its spirit and sharing information outside the lawsuit. On the surface, it looks like it's legit, but once you actually read that order, you'll know that it doesn't say what Logan wants it to say. A protective order isn't just a blanket statement. It exists to protect specific categories of information, things that are generally private, sensitive, or confidential. Coffeezilla's lawyers explain this clearly too. The order doesn't say all discovery material must be locked inside the case. It only restricts material that is under the confidential rule. Once again, Logan fails to identify a single section of deposition that meets the standard. What makes it particularly disturbing is the pattern: no pages were specified, no lines identified, no examples given. Everything is just vague and nonsensical at this point. The hypocrisy. Here is where Logan's position becomes almost impossible to recover while he's asking the court to keep everything confidential. He's been publicly discussing the case on YouTube. He has uploaded videos declaring his innocence, shaping the narrative exactly how he wants, and pulling massive views while controlling the whole thing.
So Logan Paul's being investigated by the FBI. Has the sweetest sentence been uttered in 2025? So if you don't know, there's a massive lawsuit right now between Coffeezilla and the scumbag Logan Paul. So we've been covering this lawsuit.
Let's be absolutely clear here. Logan wants privacy when the fact is out of his control, and publicity when he controls the narrative. The argument collapses instantly. You don't get to litigate publicly when it benefits you, and then demand silence when it doesn't. Legal analysts who have reviewed the filing and have landed all in one place agree that Logan's argument doesn't come close to meeting legal standards. Even the courts don't seal records because someone feels uncomfortable. They don't hide their testimony, as we said before. This is also something that Logan wishes people would forget. In his apology video after Coffeezilla's initial investigation, Logan admitted his fault publicly. He thanked Coffeezilla for exposing the problems with crypto. He even promised to make things right, along with giving his fans refunds and the victims being paid back fully. Time passed, months passed, and then years passed. We're in 2026. Many people never saw their money. That's why this lawsuit exists. Coffeezilla didn't just wake up one day and decide to sue Logan Paul. He kept following up, asking where the refunds were, and pressing Logan on promises that he had made publicly. Eventually, instead of paying people or clearing things up, Logan decided that the better move was to sue the person who wouldn't stop asking questions. That exact decision led to this deposition, and that deposition is what Logan wants to hide so much. Unlike YouTube videos, where Logan controls the editing, pacing, and narrative, a deposition is completely unfiltered under oath, with real consequences. You can't spin it. You can't redirect uncomfortable questions. You answer directly, and those answers can become part of the legal record. It's essentially him getting interrogated for things that he's saying. If those answers don't line up with the years of public statements, then the fallout is unavoidable. Based on Logan's desperate attempt to seal everything, that is exactly what's happening. The update. So, what's the update now? If the court ends up denying Logan's request and the deposition goes public, it would be worse than the Japan vlog for him. There will be no spin, no edits, and simply no escape. Just Logan's own words that are preserved forever in a legal document that anyone can read. Moving forward to Coffeezilla's legal team, they spelled it out with no filters. According to them, Logan has provided nothing in good faith in order for them to keep the deposition confidential. We bet they think the same about Logan, that what he's been doing just doesn't make sense. He hasn't explained any specific portion that would make him qualify to keep his stuff confidential under the protective order. He just wants to play the whole thing and make it go away by using any means necessary. This is the legal version of saying, "Trust me, it's quite bad. But don't look because I am the only person who is right in this world." And when you put everything together, the picture becomes obvious. Logan isn't protecting sensitive information. He's just protecting his information because he knows that he is in the wrong. He's protecting a brand that he has built over the years to make, and this is no longer about defamation. It's about accountability, which both Paul brothers often avoid. Logan didn't come here by accident. He could have paid the victims and stayed true to his words. Instead, he chose, do you think Logan should pay the price for everything he has done so far? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel for more YouTube dramas like this.